What's up, it's the Fragrance Apprentice, and today there's no gimmicks, there's no fancy effects, there's nothing of that sort. Today I'm just behind a closet and I'm going to be speaking to you directly because I think that for information like this, I just need to be as direct as I possibly can. I'm making this video because this is a video that I wanted to see when I first started this. I'm going to be gearing a lot of my content in the next couple of weeks to beginners. There's a lot of new fresh people within the community. There's a lot of fresh faces within the community. I'm an 8-year veteran at this and I want to now kind of cash in on that information, cash in on all of the stuff that I've learnt and all of the knowledge that I've acquired and everything like that. So compliments are complicated, or people can make them complicated. And the reason being is that it's an ever-changing industry, and compliments is one of the hottest topics within the fragrance community. It's the reason why we all start out. It's the reason why we all get into it. So I'm going to be doing 3 things here. The first thing is I'm going to give you a direct answer. Do fragrances get compliments? You might be experiencing a time where you're not even getting compliments. You've just started out. You're not really getting any attention. You're not getting any feedback, and you're thinking, well, is this even what's really going on? I'm going to be talking about what makes a fragrance more completable, because fragrances, especially in the designer game, are coincidentally designed to get you compliments and to get you attention. But in my mind, there are 4 very specific things that makes a fragrance get compliments. And the third thing is I'm going to give you my take on compliments in general, because up until recently I've not been that bothered. I was very bothered at the beginning. That's why you get into it, and then you're not bothered. You're not really that interested because you, like with me, it becomes an art form. It becomes your whole life. I've now got friends within this community. This community is a very big deal, big part of my life, and you stay on it for lots of different reasons rather than just the fragrances themselves. Now, the fragrances themselves are great, but whatever. Anyway, it's almost 3 minutes into the video, and you want your answer, right? Okay, well, here it is. Do fragrances get you compliments? The answer is this: yes and no, but is that clear enough for you? So the first thing is yes, fragrances 110% will get you compliments. If you are on your fragrance journey right this second because you want compliments, let me just end your journey for you right now. Go out and buy Allure Homme Sport and Malle by Jean-Paul Gaulteir. Go and get these 2. Wear them consecutively for a month. If you're in the summertime or the springtime when watching this, wear this for a month, or wear this for 3 months or 6 months, the whole shebang, the whole season. If you're in autumn and winter, wear Malle for those 3-6 months, and then come back to me, and you will have gotten a lot of compliments. You will have gotten a lot of feedback. And there's reasons why these get compliments, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But yes, they do. But certain fragrances will get you compliments. Now, to some people, this will sound like a lot of common sense, but I'm going to get through the common sense to get you to a few things that you may not have considered. So, yes, Allure Homme Sport will get you compliments. A lot of different fragrances are going to get you compliments. No, there are going to be some fragrances that do not get you compliments. This is Sebastian's Espresso Royale, but it doesn't make them bad fragrances. I think that bad fragrances are a very, very different kettle of fish to... there will be a mindset and there will be an idea in the community, in certain parts of the community, that any fragrance that does not get you compliments is not a good fragrance. I will absolutely protest to this every single time. This is Sebastian's Espresso Royale. It is one of my favourite fragrances of all time. It just smells like coffee. In fact, it smells like a coffee liqueur. It has more in common with something like a Black Russian or a Tia Marie liqueur. It's kind of like that. It's a very, very intense coffee fragrance. and I freaking adore it. But will this get me compliments? Absolutely not. I have had complaints from this fragrance. I have had people going, dear God, please do not wear that. But does that mean that it's a bad fragrance? No. Surprisingly, you'll also get this in designer fragrances, which kind of complicates things. So Tom Ford have a fragrance called Noir. I love this. I adore this. This is 100 milliliter of it. I used to have 50 milliliter. Now I have the 100 because I think it's absolutely spellbinding and amazing. Doesn't really get me that many compliments. And finally, the most extreme example that I've come across recently is this. This is Behique by Renier Parfums. To me, and I'm speaking straight from the heart, and I want you to look into my eyes when I say this. If you're a beginner, if you've been following me for a while, I want you to listen very carefully. This fragrance is, in my mind, the top level of artistic perfumery that you can get to. And I say that with every bone in my body. This is light years ahead of many, many niche perfumes. This is the height. This is the bar. This is the level, the top level of what you could hope to ever achieve in artistic forms of perfumery. With that being said, it smells like wet, damp, dirty soil. What it honestly smells like is you've had a campfire. It's suddenly started pouring it down with rain, killed the fire, killed the soil, and then moments, hours later, there's been a huge amount of sun and everything suddenly dried up again. That is not going to get you compliments. Absolutely not going to get you compliments. 100%. I am a little bit intimidated to wear this around my friends because it is so strong and it is so potent. It's amazing. It's like smoky and soily and all of that good stuff, but there is no way on earth that you would see me probably wearing this on a big occasion, to a party, to a networking event, because it would not be appropriate. People would stay away. So this is the kind of the thing that you have with fragrances. And this is where I'm at, where I am not totally bothered about compliments. I love art, and this is art. So let's switch back. Let's calm down and let's go back. Fragrances that do get compliments. Honestly, it's very simple and it's very, very easy. It's very, very easy to find fragrances that will get you compliments if you consider four things. What makes a fragrance compliment getter? And there's been a lot of complicated things in this list and that list and all of these types of things. In my mind, it's four things. The first one is it's got to be clean. Italian perfumery is completely based around this concept. They believe that the cleaner the man is, the more attractive he will come across to women. Italy is founded on a lot of old-fashioned, great values, and one of them is, gentlemanry, chivalry, and so they genuinely believe that the cleaner a man is, the more sexy, the more attractive he is, and that's how they work their perfumes. A fantastic example of that for me recently was Ioko's I Mirage 23. This is something that smells a bit like a Ventus, but it also has, let me just step in here a little bit, it also has, it's been perfumed by somebody who is very, very much into old school Italian perfumery. That has been my biggest compliment getter of the year because it is clean. The second thing that a fragrance must have to get you compliments is it must have an air of sweetness. A fragrance I recently did a review on was called Matière Jardinière by Extrait d'Atelier. This is a great solid fragrance, but it has 0 to none sweetness, right? So it's not very sweet, it's citrusy, but it doesn't have too much sugar. A fragrance must have a bit of sweetness so that it's just a little bit more tangible, has a bit of relatability, and people enjoy things that are sweet. People enjoy smells that have a bit of a sweetness. That's what they've been used to and conditioned to in culture, things like, sweets and chocolates and cakes and donuts and all of those kinds of things. Because of that, fragrances such as Rochas Man or Angel Men Pure Malt or all of the Angel Men's do very, very, very well. Sorry, I just love showing Rochas Man because I really do feel it's quite an underrated fragrance in that respect. Those fragrances have a good amount of sweetness. Now, they're not over the top. They're not outrageous. They just have a good, decent bit of sweetness. That's why things like all of the Angel Men are very good with compliments and all of that kind of stuff. That is why like Malle and L'Homme Sport, they have that sweetness, all these different things. And so when you smell a lot of designers, that's why 1 Million's popular, right? That's why a lot of the Paco Rabannes are popular. I think that some of the Paco Rabannes take it way too far, but that's just me. So right now we're on clean. It has to be a clean smell. Nobody wants you smelling dirty. They want it to smell as though you've actually looked after yourself, you've had a bath, you've had a shower. Second one is sweetness. That's a very big deal. The third one is balance. So balance is, great example again, these two. Matière Jardinière, like I said, is very light. It's very citrusy, very, very light. Light fragrances that have a little bit of citrus and are on the lighter end of the spectrum will not get compliments, because for a compliment getter usually needs balance. It needs two things, the light and the dark, pushed together. Think L'Homme Sport. Think, even though I absolutely cannot stand it, I would never recommend you to buy it, and I absolutely hate it with a passion, Dior Sauvage, great balance between light and dark. 1 Million, great balance between light and dark. All of the Chanels, every single Chanel you will ever put your hands on, a fantastic, men's or women's, a fantastic balance between lighter elements, darker elements. If it's too light, like this, it's too airy, it's too nothing, it's too watery, nobody really is into it. It's too dark, it's too gritty, it's too bold, it has too much depth, it's just in the lower bases of the olfactory system, it will not get compliments. Compliment getters are fragrances that have both the light and the dark combined. And the fourth thing, which I genuinely believe people do not think about and do not take notice of, especially I see people not taking notice of it in my reviews, I see people not taking notice of it in other people's reviews. You've got to really, really listen and think about this. The fourth thing that makes a fantastic and perfect compliment getter is performance. Because you ain't getting nothing, you aren't getting any sort of compliment, you aren't going to get any sort of comment if people cannot smell you. The projection has to be on point, the longevity has to be good enough, but we're mainly talking about projection. Longevity can be whatever, but if the projection is a skin scent, and the only time that somebody can smell it is if they're right up close to me, well, in certain situations, that's going to be fine, right? But if you're talking just generally, when you're out and about, people need to smell you. So you have to know that the projection is good. The projection at least has to be a 3 out of 5, a 4 out of 5, a 5 out of 5, or at least a 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10. Then people will be able to smell you. If it can be the greatest fragrance in the world, it can be a Ventus, it can be whatever you want it to be, but if people can't smell you, people aren't going to notice. And that is the one thing that people don't think about or forget when they're talking about, oh, I don't have, I never get compliments, I never get attention, I never get this, I never get that from my fragrance. My statement to you is, can people even smell you? You've got to test this. You can spray it in your room and in your house, but when you walk out that door, it could be a completely different story. Now, there's always an exception to every rule. That's true. I'm going to give you a couple examples. I don't want you to get too bogged down in it. We want to keep it simple, but here's a couple examples. This one is Oud Rain from Renier, who are the same people who did Behique. And Renier's an artist. He doesn't really care too much about compliments and all that kind of stuff. This year, this has been one of the most intriguing fragrances I've worn when it comes to feedback, because this has had the strongest reaction to people. Now, not always has it been good. I have had people, when I have worn this, say, George, that is, oh my God, please, that is too much, that's terrible, don't wear that. I have had people jumping on me wearing this, in which they've said, oh my God, what is that? That's amazing. Never, or not for a very long time, have I seen a fragrance that has had such opposition, but such strong feedback. If you want something to wear that's just going to get you a lot of feedback in general, a lot of conversation, then from my perspective, Oud Rain is something to consider. Now, I told you about the elements of being clean and sweet and well balanced. Well, Musc Ravajouer doesn't really have any of that. It has a bit of sweetness, I suppose, and maybe a good amount of balance, but not enough. If you were to smell this, this has such a heavy medicinal fig note, you would not class it as a compliment getter, but it has had compliments. I've had strong compliments from this, so like I said, there is an exception to every rule. With that being said, if you're just confused, if things are just out of whack, you don't know what's going on, and you're like, hang on a second, do fragrances even get compliments? Stick to what I said. It needs to be clean. You need to smell as though you've actually had a wash. The second, you need something that's sweet. You need something that has a little bit of sugar, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. All right, just to give it a little bit of sweetness. Third thing is it needs to be balanced. It can't be too light, it can't be too dark. You've got to think Goldilocks, right? Can't be too light, can't be too dark, it's got to be just right. And the fourth thing is people will actually have to smell you. That is actually a big problem right now because of reformulations, because they're so prevalent. One of the reasons why you are not getting compliments is because the fragrances you are wearing, nobody can smell them. So go for stronger fragrances that have the other three attributes that I just said. And to finish this all off, I'm just going to say this. I've had a great journey with fragrance. That journey is still continuing. I love it and I enjoy it and it's fab. But I swear to God, fragrances do not get you laid. You get you laid. It's your responsibility to be charming, to be charismatic, to have the personality that will do that. All right? Fragrances can give you maybe 10% of help. And this is another point, which is you've ultimately got to find a fragrance that suits your personality, that suits who you are, that suits the way that you maneuver through life, the way that you are personably, the way that you talk to people. If you can find a fragrance that suits you, then that's great. Take me, for example. I'm not the classic macho guy. In fact, sometimes I can be a little bit effeminate. I can be sensitive. So what do? I wear fragrances that have that energy as well. I'll wear things like Feb Delicieuse. I'll wear things like Christian Dior's Dior Homme. On the summer side, I'll wear things like Millésime Impérial. Aventus doesn't really kind of work for me. I kind of get compliments for it, but it doesn't really suit the way that I am. I like things a little bit more sensitive. I like things a little bit more stylish and a little bit more gentlemanly and a little less in your face. That's why I've really enjoyed wearing I Mirage 23, because it has the Aventus DNA, but it also has the stylish, upper class, gentleman, Italian style of fragrance locked into it, and that's why I've really enjoyed it. Once you start finding fragrances that suit your personality and suit who you are, they basically just become a part of your wardrobe, and they become something that strengthens out your personality and strengthens out your vibe. They are used as a tool, not a crutch. That's what you should always keep in mind. Use fragrances as tools to amplify your personality, to present your personality, not as a crutch for you to lean your personality onto, because that is never going to work. Honestly, I see some of these comments on some of the bigger channels or some of the channels that really, really idealize in compliments and feedback, and I'm thinking to myself, what are these dudes thinking? Are they honestly going to be like, right, this woman loves my fragrance and she slept with me because she liked my fragrance? What the fuck is that? That's not a relationship. That's just crazy. That's insanity. That's like the most shallowest of the shallow. If a woman is sleeping with you or dating you because of your fragrance collection or because of the way that you smell, there's something wrong with that girl. I'm very sorry, but there is. That's not a normal relationship, and that's not going to end well if it's based on such frivolous and shallow things like fragrances and how you smell. That's crazy. I hope that that's cleared everything up. I think that it is an important subject, and the best way to tackle this subject is to tackle it head first and to tackle it straight and just be honest with it. That's my full sentiment about compliments and feedback, and I hope that you agree. I have been considering doing a most complimented. It is fun to talk about fragrances that have got me attention, that have got me compliments, and I think that this is a good kind of prologue or preview to that list. If you would like to see me I'm thinking of doing a top 20 because there has been a lot of compliments in my time. It's going to be a long video. I'm just going to give you this warning right now, but if you would love to see that video from me, then tell me. Leave down in the comments that you'd love to see that. Anyway, I hope that you got the information that you wanted. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed doing this video. I was a bit tentative about doing it, but it felt great to just get that off my chest. So if you love this video, of course, like, leave a lovely comment and subscribe, because there's fragrance content every single day coming from this YouTube channel. Right, I'm the Fragrance Apprentice. Thanks a lot. I'm out.